It's Wednesday, July 30th, 2014. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights tonight. Superpowers.
Not superpowers.
The
Special
superest
attacks.
of them. Special attacks only including superpowers?
No, it just could be a special attack of any kind.
So we're saying that this can be anything that we would deem. What is a special attack?
We'll get to that later.
All right.
Let's do this.
It's later. So what is a special attack? Are we
That's
gonna
for
get
the main bit of the show, not
later,
the opening
later,
bit.
later?
The
All right.
opening bit, I got to talk about other stuff.
All right.
So this morning, I'm biking to work,
Yep.
and my little water bottle cage is going rattle, 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 rattle.
So you leaned over to try to fix it, didn't you?
No,
Okay.
I stopped to try to fix it.
Yep.
And so I get to the other side of the bridge, and I'm going to pull over.
The
So I-
Midtown Bridge, right?
yeah,
59th
59th Street
Street?
Bridge.
Yeah.
Get to the other side, and there's a little, there's a dip in the curb where cars go to get over the curb.
Yep.
So I turn to the right and go hop up that curb. But that curb is too damn high.
You know, you and Emily both have difficulties with curbs like that, and I think the reason is you didn't grow up mountain biking.
Anyway, so I fell over.
Did I teach you guys a class on how to hop a curb?
No. So I fell over, and I was like, oh well, whatever. And get up. And I'm like, oh, my knees are bleeding, and I don't really feel any pain over there. I still don't. But there was really nothing I could do about that until I got to work. So I got up and
You
brushed.
could have called 911 and just sat there.
Yeah, no. I got up and brushed myself off and went to work after adjusting my water bottle cage a
Now,
little bit.
I want to preface this next bit because you give pretty much continuous shit. You throw shade, in fact, is the phrase I'm going to start using now, on the internet in general, at people who have a phone that has a crack.
I do.
Yeah. So
But those people who have a phone that has a crack, if I ask them, how did that phone get cracked? It's a dumbass reason. Or they don't even say the reason because
like
it's
not
so
knowing
dumb.
how to hop a curb?
No. Falling off a bike is a legit reason to have a crack in a phone.
Yeah, maybe if you were riding and a band of like Fist of the North Star villains hit you with a baseball bat, knocking you off the bike.
Dropping it by being a careless buffoon is not a legit reason. Just because you have butterfingers. Also, I've dropped my phone more than once. Like, for example, laying in bed, reach over to put it down, and it slides onto the floor instead of onto the place where you want to put it.
Yep, that's happened to me.
And my phone is not shattered. So,
Of course, remember, I had that Nexus 4 that I had, or the Nexus S that I had. Like, I dropped it all the time, and it was just, like, invincible. And then one day, I was walking out of my building, and I opened the door, and the door just, like, bumped lightly into my leg where the phone was in my pocket, and that just, the entire screen just shattered.
anyway, the only part of my phone was broken was the tiny piece of glass in the rear at the top that goes around the camera lens and whatnot.
Yep, because, I mean, look, the whole back of mine is just, like, shattered and cracked.
Mine's not that bad.
Well, that crack's been growing for a month.
Anyway, but I mean, I didn't realize this was a problem because it was still working. Like my Pebble Watch was getting messages and the phone was beeping until I went and the phone was beeping so much from tweets. I went to go turn it on vibrate and I saw the screen was fucked the fuck up. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, what are my options here? Go to Verizon and get a really shitty phone until the iPhone 6 comes out in like 2 months? Or go to the Apple store and see what they do, and I don't have Apple Care. And then my coworker was like, just buy an unlocked phone on eBay. I'm like, I need a phone within like an hour. I can't be, I cannot have a phone. Like
yeah,
today.
when this happened to me way back with my Nexus S, I ordered with rush shipping a used unlocked phone that was identical to the phone I had.
I need something right the fuck now. So
I was able to make it a day. I got my phone actually the next day.
Yep. He Googled and he found a place real nearby, iPhone repair, something. I went there. I just walked on over. I walk in. I show him the phone. The lady at the counter is like, oh, that's blah, 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 $90, 15 minutes. I'm like, what? Whatever you just said, I will swipe my credit card. I sit down, right, and there's a little waiting area. There's 2 other people waiting. While I'm waiting, they're done and they leave. There's no one else there. Right, except the people working. Like one guy's banging on like iPad frames to get him into shape or something. And I start reading this article in Wired magazine about this Instagram photographer or whatever. Before I can,
because there's nothing you can do while you're waiting
with no phone. Yeah.
Uh,
They have magazines there. They're not stupid. And like I'm not even on page 2, and she's like, Scott. I'm like, huh? Like it's ready. And sure enough, The back of it was still smushed, but the screen was fixed. It was 100% functional because the front wasn't smashed. And
You know what the moral of that is? Never pay for phone replacement insurance because it's a scam.
Obviously. But the thing is, one person suggested on the internet way later in the day, like, hey, maybe like the connector that connects the video card to the screen was just a little bit detached, and the Apple Store may have fixed that for free for you. But I'm like, all right, whatever. I wasn't upset paying $90.
Well,
So-
that's the other reason why this is so easy for us. We have money.
Yeah. I guess it's like, where should I have gone first, right? The Apple Store was much further away.
Thing is, I was willing to wait about 24 hours to get my phone back, and I lived. I managed.
No. But yeah, this place, especially like if you have something like your screen is cracked, like most of you, right, that the Apple Store isn't going to just fix, this place, it was a miracle, this place. So, amazing.
Yeah. So, in the news, don't have a lot of news. I mean, the Eisner Awards happened, and all I'll say...
Oh, my prediction was 100% correct, wasn't
The
it?
official Geeknights prediction was, in fact, prognostication.
Yeah.
We
Saga takes all categories in which it was nominated. If you are listening to this right now and you do not read Saga, either every single issue as it comes out in digital or paper form, or, like me, every trade paperback as soon as it comes out in paper form, what?
I mean, it's not the greatest comic ever written by man.
It's not Watchmen. It is simply the greatest. I don't
put it
want to
this
just
way.
limit it to comics.
Remember?
It's the best comic, or also in pretty much any narrative, including serial TV shows, movies, books, and comic books. Right? It is the best fictional narrative thing.
What, not Sailor Moon?
That is being created and released at this moment.
That was pretty qualified, but I think pretty accurate.
It's the best current narrative fiction
I'll put it
thing
this way. If
of
that
all
shit,
mediums.
If that shit were on HBO and I couldn't pirate it, I would pay for HBO somehow. Actually, no, because there's no way to pay for HBO, so I'd pirate it.
I mean, clearly it is not better than things that have happened and completed. It is probably
It also
not,
might not be better for you. You might like
it's-
really shitty things.
It's also not necessarily better than all things yet to come. But of things that are of fictional narrative works of art that are being created and released at this moment in time, it is the best one.
It has the highest average score of all aspects.
Yes.
So I'll make it more simple. Remember how we said Player of Games was maybe not the best book ever written, but
It's not
it was
the best
book
book ever
that
written.
was
It's not even close.
It was the book that was the closest you could ever get to a book that was basically the title might as well have been, "Hey, Rim and Scott, here's a book that you and the people who listen to your show will like."
Except for The Darkness That Comes Before.
Yeah, well, that was, hey, you and your friends, but not everyone who listens to your show will talk about this book perennially for the rest of your lives. So let's go on the opposite tack to something that's going to be shit. So I'm going to make another prognostication
Oh,
here.
this is not a hard prognostication
So,
to make.
people are going
Freaking
crazy.
Nostra Rim over here.
You
Rim Adamus.
know who I am? Isaac.
Isaac.
I just said for the main bit, I want to talk about Isaac. I think he had a
Sure.
pretty good superpower.
Rim Adamus
Spoilers
over
for Escaflowne, by the way.
Yeah.
So, at SDCC, they showed a trailer.
They showed like 10 billion trailers.
Yeah, and some people probably waited in line like 14 hours to see this, and I just saw it
Well, you
on
know what?
YouTube.
I figured out, right? I sort of knew this, but I totally confirmed it this year. Is that basically that Hall H, they don't room clear.
Oh, yeah.
So people just go in immediately in the morning. They stay in that room without leaving all goddamn day to see the one panel they want to see at like 4, right? Because otherwise they're not going to get to see it. They should just fucking room clear that shit.
I can tell you why they don't room clear. One, room clearing's smart, and it's the kind of thing that conventions that actually care about the average attendee's experience do.
Mm-hmm.
So already.
But on the other hand, some people posted that because the fact that it doesn't room clear, a bunch of people were forced to sit through like some feminism type panels they might not have
Yeah.
wanted to sit through.
But from an
But
issue
still,
of
they should
pragmatism,
they should room clear.
I look to our own Kineticon policies for lining up.
If there's a line for the next panel, we room clear.
Let's say there was a line, or let's say they did a room clear for Hall H. How many things do you think are in there in one day?
Things last about an hour to 90 minutes. Conventions probably 10 to 12 hours.
Yep.
Maybe like 10 things.
All right, so 10
I
things.
could probably look at the schedule online.
Yeah, so 3 days, so say 30 things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we know they're going to clear the room between each thing.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, before the con, 30 lines will form.
No, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it.
No, I'm saying that's what would happen.
Mm-hmm. Here's what you should do. People should still make the one giant line that they always make, right?
Yep.
And then, if you don't want to go into the thing that's currently seating, you just stand still in that line, and the people just walk right past you and go in.
That would suck. I would just go in, because at least I'm sitting.
And then, when that thing is over, the thing you didn't want to see, you get your ass kicked out, and now you're not even in line. You go to the back of the line.
Oh. You know what I would do instead? I would just sell tickets to that room, because this con's already a commercial nightmare for attendees.
Mm.
And I would just make an open bidding system.
Also, if I was a company, right? Wow, and I was having the popular thing, just, why would I have it in the Hall H? I'll just have it across the street and sell tickets to it in a hotel. It's
maybe there's a place for that.
Those people are lining up, right? There's 10 things in the room. They're really lining up for 3 of those things that have the celebrity they want. If I'm the people who are having that celebrity panel, why do I need to have it in this convention? Let's have it across the street.
Yeah. Though I did at the most recent PAX East have that experience of being in one room all day, seeing everything that was in it. And
oh, right, because you're in the streamy room.
And you know what? That's worth doing once. If you're at a really big con, that was actually kind of an interesting experience.
Yeah, I mean, in Hall H, you're going to see mad top-level America celebrities, right?
Yeah.
If that's what you're into.
And you're probably going to be in the front row because you lined up 3 weeks in advance. But not to get off track. So one of the trailers they showed was for an Adventure Time game.
We've already had 2 of those, and they were not good.
The 2 Adventure Time games, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage, and Let's Explore the Dungeon Because I Don't Know, are garbage.
They're not the worst games of all time.
But they are garbage.
I don't recommend you purchase or play them.
So yes, they're not as bad as the active Hitler in the dumpster.
They have playable aspects.
If you have an active Hitler,
they have funny
poop
Adventure Time
in a
aspects.
dumpster together. They're both bad and they're both garbage.
There's about 30 seconds of funny Lumpy Space Princess.
Yes, you know
in the
what?
one that I played.
You know what? If you want to experience these Adventure Time games,
watch them on YouTube.
Yes, go on YouTube, watch the cutscenes, and literally, there is 0 chance this game will be good. The developers that are making it made the previous 2 games. They're uninspired, ridiculously bad, poorly done drivel.
Every single game you see since the Game Boy, since the Game Boy, but since the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, right? Game Boy DS and 3DS. Every licensed property game, shovelware for those systems, no matter how good the licensed property, almost all of them have been bad. There was one good Astro Boy game for the GBA. It was a sideways beat 'em up, and it wasn't even as good as Final Fighter Streets of Rage, but it was still okay. And that's the only one I can think of right now.
Just what I don't get is it's not even it's just us saying, oh, these games are bad, but then the grognard, the people on the internet just eat them up. No, the first comment on this article on IGN comments, it better be good. The last adventure game was lame and tiresome. But then again, I think he also answers my question of why they keep making them. The collector's edition, however, was great.
What?
It was the same game, just with some cheapo stuff.
Maybe he just maybe he bought it for the stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's if you think about it, remember those anime, there was some perverted anime and it came with a pair of underwear?
Thomas JGC said, hey, Ice King was pretty good.
Anyway.
Wow.
There was some anime I remember back in the day that came with panties.
Oh, that guy also thinks LSP's voice is really bad, so he's obviously wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, imagine if someone bought that, not for the anime and it's bonus panties, but I want the panties. Oh, DVDs, me.
I've seen that happen. That could be there.
Right.
But
it's I can finally buy some girls' panties without having to go to the girls' panty section of the store.
The reason these games are so bad enough to draw my ire, it's kind of like the King Killer Chronicle, Captain Nice Guy's Penis Adventure Through Fedora Land 2, The Sex Chronicles. In the second book, he teaches some barbarian women where babies come from.
Okay.
Little known fact. So it's that these games start out like they should be really good. By every right, they should be good. The licensed property for them is perfect for this kind of thing. And then the fact that it's just shovelware after that point, it's like the difference between the first episode of Eden of the East and the last episode of Eden of the East. That's why I'm so mad about these games. Fuck these people. And seriously, Pendleton Ward, why are you putting the crusty seal of quality on these games?
Money.
I mean,
pay the bills.
The
dollar
crusty seal
bills.
of quality. Well, I guess that's actually an apt comparison.
Anyway, so here's the real news, right? The New York Comic Con we're probably not going to go to.
Probably. I've had free badges for like 3 years and I didn't even fucking. It's 4 subway stops away and I didn't go with my free badges.
Every year, even though it's not really worth going to, even though it's right there, they've had a guest that's worth seeing, right?
Well, remember way back we got Tamino.
Yeah. And then we went to see Makoto Shinkai was there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we saw the movie.
So this year, who was at the anime New York Anime Festival? Final Fantasy art guy.
Amano?
Yeah, Amano was there. That was one, right? So
That
like
was
every
one.
year they get like this one mega guest that we actually care about. This year they got Takeshi Obata, who is the Death Note Bakuman artist guy.
Yup.
I've never seen him at a convention ever. Ever.
I would go, but I really don't like Comic Cons anymore.
I don't
At all.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, it's not worth it to have to go over there. It's right there. at the subway stops in front of our apartment building.
yep. Anyway, just saying.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. High quality guest right there.
Also, I point out that when we went to see Makoto Shinkai and then we went to like the big Q&A,
We went Sunday morning, we saw the screening, we left.
the room was full. People lined up crazily to see him, which was really cool. Like, people were really into it. Take a note, Otakon, Katsucon, all the other anime cons. The Comic Cons actually get people to line up for the anime guests.
Yeah, Tamino had a huge line. He filled the
Yeah,
room.
a lot of people got turned away. And the room was full, but I remember, and I have a video I'll link to, but I videoed the whole interview. You want to know why? Because I realized that other than me, no one in the room was press. No one was covering that at all. I think I actually got the only video and audio of that panel.
Probably.
And almost no one watched it online, so I guess that's why. So, things of the day. Got a thing of the day?
I might have a thing of the day. So this should be a Tuesday thing of the day, but whatevs. Here are, Crokinole, PAX East final game.
One of the better Omegathon finales they've ever had.
Right. Here is the World Crokinole Championships of 2012 final round. It's incredible.
It's pretty amazing. It's
It's exactly what you'd expect. Like,
I guess imagine a bowling tournament and they're keeping track of the score in terms of how many 300s you got in a row.
yeah, it's like, you know how you bowl and you get like 100 something maybe,
Yep.
and if you're really good, 200 something. But like you watch pro guys and it's rare they don't get a strike. Well, pro Crokinole is pretty the same. It's up
toad hole,
20,
toad hole.
20, 20, 20, 20. It's ridiculous.
It's pretty amazing.
These guys must have sat in their houses for like weeks just constantly flicking it into the 20 over and over and over again.
That circle there, that Crokinole place, is a place I will never be. I like Crokinole. I really want to play Crokinole. Could probably get a table for Crokinole. Crokinole was moderately big at RIT, like weirdly. But these guys are too far beyond me. I'm 100 years too soon.
If only I could be as good at air hockey as they are at Crokinole.
If we could just find someone who is willing to host an air hockey table, I'd be willing to split one 50-50 with you. However, theoretical person, one, you'd have to live within subway access of us. Two, let us come over to your house at any hour of any day. Just give us keys so we can play air hockey. But otherwise,
Not be bothered by the noise of the air compressor and,
and the
clack,
clacking.
clack, 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 ding, clack,
and
clack, ding.
you got to keep that shit waxed. But if you do that, we will provide you with a brand new regulation photon air hockey table. I'm kind of serious.
Oh, and if we ever like move somewhere, we're taking that shit.
Yeah, or you have to move alongside us. So if we move to Seattle, well, guess where you're moving? Either you or the table.
Well, you and the table or just the table?
Yeah, pretty much all I care about is the table.
All right.
So, my thing of the day, this was tweeted a while ago, and I think I talked about it, but I don't think I really talked about it too deeply on Geeknights. But, so we've been watching the new Sailor Moon, and
Ashokyo?
yeah, Tuxedo Mask was kind of a shitty dresser. And
Did he wear a fucking tuxedo? How could he be shitty at dressing?
Yeah, so in the old anime,
there is no dressing that is less shitty than a tuxedo.
So he is usually not wearing the tuxedo. He's wearing like an oversized shirt that's buttoned the wrong way.
Well, that's not Tuxedo Mask.
Oh, spoilers.
Who do you think that's not him?
My blood turns me into this guy. So that aside, in the new one, he is just wearing the tuxedo all the time.
And it's not
much.
just a regular tuxedo. It's a fucking Dracula tuxedo with a medallion thingy.
Yeah, and as our good friend Onorobo posted, it is a broken tuxedo. She posted this picture that is basically a teardown of how incorrectly designed this tuxedo is. So if you cosplay as Tuxedo Mask, you're wearing a tuxedo that anyone who knows about tuxedos will slap you over. 1, loose collar. 2, bow tie should be plump and sit in front of the wingtips. 3, white tie never has a pleated bosom. 4, cannot stress this enough. Never, 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 never wear notch lapels with a tuxedo, especially not a white tie tuxedo. And this shit is egregious.
I don't know anything about fashions, especially not any of that.
Vest should never be longer than the jacket.
Okay.
Oh, and the sleeve should be the same length because in Sailor Moon, his left sleeve appears to go all the way down to the floor. I think that's just an animation error, but still.
Well, I mean, the show is already poorly drawn. That's just an example of the kind of not attention to detail, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, though, how many shows are well drawn, right, but still have that kind of mistake in it, but no one bothers to look that closely and point it out because the show is well drawn.
You know what my opinion is? Every anime that's ever had a horse in it. Seriously, go back and look at horses in anime. They're the fucking worst. But Ono went one step further and drew a corrected version of the tuxedo. And you know what? Even if you don't understand all the 9 points of why this tuxedo is wrong, look at the pictures and that shit becomes apparent. And you will now feel like a tuxedo expert.
I can't see the picture.
And the next time you see a person wearing a tuxedo and the vest is longer than the jacket, you can slap them.
Whoa, that sleeve goes all the way to the ground.
Yeah, it does.
It's definitely longer than the other sleeve.
But this is why I'm not digging the new Tuxedo Mask or even the new Sailor Moon. It's just, it reeks of lazy cash grab, and I'm really not feeling like it's going to be remembered for the ages. There's a reason the old Sailor Moon is remembered. It's not the best show.
It's more like a mandatory anniversary activity.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, something is an arbitrary number of years old. We have to do something.
So in the meta moment, the book club book is a canticle for Leibowitz. I imagine Scott will read it on the flights to and from PAX.
Maybe.
Or he's just going to play video games.
I charged my Kindle.
No.
That's a step.
Yeah. I stopped reading temporarily, so I'm only 5 novels ahead of you.
Okay.
But started reading the non-culture Ian M. Banks fiction because I'm kind of at odds with the fact that there's no more culture books.
All right.
Might have to turn to fan fiction.
Okay.
Luke Burridge promised he would write me culture fan fiction, so if that actually happens, I will read it.
Okay. The more important meta moment. Do you want to go to the aforementioned PAX Prime? Are you able to get there and have a place to stay there? But are you also lacking a ticket because they are sold the fuck out?
They were unsold out today and then were sold out again.
Right, so now you have no chance to get one other than stealing one, buying one from scalpers, or winning one from someone like us.
Oh, yeah.
I bought 4 tickets, but our panel was accepted. There was a chance it wouldn't be.
We're not yet. As much, Pat, we're not going to risk that shit.
Yeah, we can't risk our panel not being accepted. We have to guarantee that we're going to get in. So I bought 4 tickets. We need one of them because Emily wants it. And the other one I have to sell because, Jesus Christ, these things are $110. I got to get some money back.
Yeah. Also, girl who complained about how expensive Kineticon badges are.
$110, 4 days of PAX. The other 2, we're going to give away to one lucky person. If you want to be that lucky person, here's what you have to do. You have to help promote Geek Nights. Because we got to get something for this, right? We're not going to lie about it, being like, no, this is not a shameless promotion. No, it's a shameless promotion.
You guys know. You guys are the hardcore listeners. Most of our fans don't listen. They just consume
PAX
other
is
stuff.
growing. Geek Nights is not growing. You help grow Geek Nights, we'll get you to PAX, right? So here's what you do. You got to tweet. We're going to stick it to Twitter only because that's easy for us. You make a tweet. Your tweet must contain a link to some sort of Geek Nights content. It might be a podcast episode. It might be a video we put on YouTube.
Yes.
Some sort of Geek Nights content. Your tweet must also contain the hashtag PAX for PAX so that when people search for the PAX on Twitter, they'll see it. It must contain a hashtag of Geek Nights or at Geek Nights so that it's easy for us to see it and so people can, you're spreading the brand of Geek Nights. But if you use at Geek Nights, do not make that the very first thing in your tweet because then only we will see that tweet, and other people who follow us who also follow you, which is almost nobody. So that won't count.
Nah.
And 3, you must tweet it before I give the tickets away, which will probably be very soon after I receive them in the mail. And we will randomly select one person who made such a tweet and send them the tickets in the mail after I direct message them on Twitter and get their address. If you tweet many times, thank you, but I'm only going to put you in the random selector once.
However, unrelatedly, if some of our videos start taking off more, we'll do more.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I hope, are following our Geeknights Presents Shoujo Kakume Utena show, which seems moderately popular, but could be more popular. If it were, say, an order of magnitude more popular, we would do a lot more episodes in a fucking hurry.
Mm-hmm.
So, all that aside, we're going to be at PAX, and we're going to be presenting our panel. The panel is titled, How to Win Every Game.
Every game.
It's on Monday at noon, I think, the Sandworm Theater. And,
I feel like they're putting all the fan panels on Mondays.
yeah, we'll see. We'll look at the
They're
schedule
cramming
and
us all
see.
into the Monday.
Yep. But we're not joking. We'll literally tell you how to win every game that you'll ever play in your life. You might not want to do the things we suggest, but then you don't get to win.
That's not what that's what it takes to win. You're
Yeah,
either
you
going to
wanna
do it or
win?
you're not.
Do you listen to Herm Edwards or not? So, special attacks.
So we were having trouble cutting. Actually, I had a zillion show ideas, and I said, and Rim was like, "Oh, those are all kind of okay show ideas.
Yeah.
Let's pick one." And this is the run Rim picked: is do the link bait garbage show of top 10 something. So Rim was just like top 10 villains, and I'm like, that's just lame and generic. You have to make it top 10 something interesting. And I was thinking like top 10 anime animal
Can
companions.
you name 10 anime animal companions?
I can easily. Do they? I'm not. These aren't my top 10, but I'm just gonna name 10 because
All right, you gotta give their
challenged me.
name.
Their name?
Yes.
Fuck.
How
All right. Well,
many Sailor Moon cats can you get?
Luna.
Not Artemis.
Choo-Choo.
Diana. Okay, so you got Luna and Choo Choo.
The yellow thing from Full Metal Panic from I don't know the name of. Okay. Candy's little thingy. Raccoon thingy. Okay. Haro, the robot thingy from.
Is that an animal?
It's a robot Gundam. Yes, it counts.
So wait, is that an animal? Yes, it's a robot Gundam.
Yes, it's a robot in the Gundam universe.
That's cheating because then Tori counts too.
Tori, done.
All right, great. You're up to 4. Congratulations.
Pikachu.
Pokemon.
That's the only
can't
Pokemon
count.
that counts.
Okay, I was about to say.
That's the only Pokemon that
All
counts.
Pokemon are just Ditto anyway. So.
Yeah. Cubey.
Is he an animal companion?
Yes.
Is he an animal?
Yes.
Okay, we're up to 6 then.
All right. I can definitely finish this if you give
We'll
me
see.
enough time.
This pressure's on.
Pressure's on to finish this. Oh.
You don't know his name.
Pen.
Pen counts.
Pen.
Pen definitely counts.
Pen's probably the best one.
Yeah, because the moral of Pen is don't worry about it.
Marilu?
Meridu does not count.
You don't think so?
No.
The cat armor from El Hazard,
Yes,
which doesn't have a
what?
name other than cat armor.
What is it called?
Cat
in the
armor.
anime?
Its name is cat armor.
All right, provisional.
Provisional.
Still need another one.
Does Mahotsukai have one?
Does it?
I don't think so.
The wand does not count, despite having
Duck wand.
Despite having a duck, or in one instance a horse on it.
So
are we doing a top 10 list?
You
don't know its
Kokuo
name.
Go, which is Rao's horse. That's an animal companion.
Guess that counts.
All right, we're getting there.
All
Do
right.
you really want me to finish this whole thing?
I think you got it enough.
You think I can make it? If you give me enough time, I can make it.
So what
The
constitutes
mice from Voltron.
a special attack?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty liberal in what counts as
Because
a
there's
special
obvious
attack.
ones like the Big O Punch is a special attack.
Someone looking at my list, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Dragonslave and Gigaslave on there too.
Maybe.
Do you have them both?
No.
Did you forget Gigaslave?
No.
Because if you had Dragonslave and not Gigaslave, get the fuck out.
No, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Right. So, I mean, people have superpowers, right? In fiction, especially animes and comics and things, right?
Fujisawa kick.
Right, exactly. But Superman's super strength is not a special attack. He doesn't announce, I'm going to punch, and then have a special punch that he repeats, right? Cyclops shoots people with eye lasers, right? But only in the X-Men arcade game does he actually do it in the
I was
form.
about to say that counts. So
Only in the X-Men arcade game does he actually do it in the form of a special attack where he says, Optic Blast, and
so it is a special attack in that case.
in that game, it is a special attack. But outside in the comic books, it's never a special attack. He just shoots everywhere.
Yep.
He
But
just
then another,
uses-
I hit you now, you little guy.
Right. So to be a special attack, it has to be a move, an offensive maneuver. I guess it could be defensive, right? But it has to have it has to have a name, right? A canon name.
So I can't just be like Galactus being what he is.
Yeah, like Galactus eats a world. Well, if Galactus said, I eat a world, and then does it, it's like, oh, Galactus did I eat a world. Right? It's like every Pokemon actually sort of has a whole bunch of special attacks. Like, because it's like, Gyarados use Hyper Beam, right? It's like, well, I guess Hyper Beam's a special attack.
Yeah, that's
In
fine.
fact, it's
HMs,
affected by the
TMs.
special attack stat. So it's
I was thinking of Pokemon Rusty. Use strength.
so it's
All
like
right.
if it has a name and it's a maneuver, then it becomes it gets elevated beyond just
So I have
general power to
so-
special attack.
I do have one edge case that I'm curious what your thoughts are.
All right.
So One Punch Man doesn't say I'm doing the one punch.
That's true.
But One Punch Man has one move and it fits all the other definitions of move.
It's so ridiculously strong,
I think it counts.
and I don't want to disrespect such an ultimate punch. I actually give it more respect than most other attacks. But it doesn't come in the form of really a special attack so much. It
the
doesn't
way
have
it's
a name.
presented, if you just
It's not
pencil in-
drawn in the same way every time. It's just he punches, right?
Ah, true.
It's not like, he does it in the same way every time. Like, here we go, I'm doing the punch, right?
All right.
It's just he punches.
Meanwhile, Big O,
which
like
is-
you get that stock animation of all those pistons gearing up.
Exactly. It's the same move every time. It's Showtime. It has a name, Showtime.
Yeah. All right. So
So I just want to preface this, right? I put this list together like 2 minutes before the
I
show.
put my list together like just now.
Right. I probably forgot a whole bunch of great attacks that probably deserve to be higher on this list than everything I put on this list.
All right, let's start.
So this is in no way definitive.
Yep.
And if you tell me about something I forgot, you're probably right.
Yeah. So
But I thought up as many as I could and then ordered them in a mini tournament in my head, and then we're going to go.
So this isn't necessarily the most powerful attack because it's very contextual. However, Toga's ability to summon that car, I think, counts.
What's the name of that attack?
Do you hear it?
That is correct.
Prowling around the ends of the world. Do you hear it? And then you hear the car in the distance. And it even has. I feel like there's most media that are long running.
Why would you choose that and not just like Power of Dios?
That's also a power. I prefer Toga's power because
You would.
sweet car.
You would.
Also, usually there's a side thing with these special attacks. There's usually the Mold Breaker episode where either someone else uses the special attack, like in Hokuto
Zankaiken.
Sankaiken,
Yeah.
or when Sailor V pretends to be Sailor Moon and says that Skinny Kawate Oshiokyo's speech.
I got to get to that episode.
That's like 40. That's so many episodes away from where you are now.
I'll get there. It's
That's-
where now I got something to look forward to.
You haven't even met Sailor Venus yet. She doesn't even know she's a Sailor
I saw her
Scout.
video game.
Yeah.
How does she not know?
It's complicated.
Okay.
Scott, the answer to any question you have about the Sailor Moon universe is it's complicated.
Great.
But there's always that moment. And even in Utena, Toga does that move. But then there's an episode where Ruka is
did.
like, da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da, doing my thing. I'm doing the Toga thing. And then he turns and says, Toga, I believe it's your line. And then he just appears out of this fountain and says the
right.
line.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
that-
last one on my list. Do I actually have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 12. Fuck
Yeah.
you, I'm doing all 12.
that's whatever.
Number 12. Paimei stole your eyeball.
Oh my God, that is. What, do you remember the name of that?
Eyeball snatch.
Yeah. Is that,
That's his special move. He snatches your eyeball right out of your face.
that power, that special attack might have been so powerful that I think it was the first YTMND.
It was the first YTMND I give a shit about.
Yes, it was
and
the
probably
first-
the last one I gave a shit
I mean,
about.
obviously the first
Except
YTMND
the Kirby
was,
Snoop Dogg one.
was YTMND.
Yeah.
But I think Paimei Stole Your Eyeball outlived YTMND, and I think it was the first one that people noticed out in
Maybe.
the wild.
But just snatching someone's eyeball out of their face. That's incredible.
Yeah, especially doing it twice to the same person. Though the 5-point palm heart, whatever that was.
That's probably the strongest. See, the best attacks are not necessarily the strongest.
That's not the strongest or the best. The 5-point one is just cool.
I think that's probably the strongest.
It's not nearly as strong as just shoot him.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Anyway. But that's not a special attack, just shoot him.
Unless you say something while you shoot him. It's
Sure.
going to be like gun guy in a fighting game, the one guy who has a gun. So write down, because I already mentioned Big O's punch, but I don't think you guys, if you haven't watched Big O, really appreciate it.
Crossing off Big O's punch on my list.
I think it's the greatest punch ever animated to be delivered by a robot in human history.
Maybe.
Name a better animated robot delivering a punch.
Well, I mean, on my list, coming up soon is also Rocket the Punchy.
That's pretty cool.
But it's not, I don't know, it's not stronger or necessarily better. Let's see, did I rank it better? Where did I put it?
Mine are in no particular order.
Oh, okay. It does. So then mine are also in no particular order, except for the ones I'm going to say are in a better order. But it's like Rocket Punch it's cooler, I think, because it's flying around. It's a flying fist, which is amazing.
But that piston.
But it's not nearly as hard punching as the piston. The piston is just like, boom, right? The impact is like 10 times as strong with the piston, right? Showtime is way stronger than Rocket Punch, but Rocket Punch, it's fly. Just when you see that fist flying in the air, it's just like, goddamn. And it's in the theme song.
It is. That is true.
Right? Showtime is not in the theme song of Big O.
So, speaking of Big O, Batman's special attack would be his money, but he doesn't really call it out.
Does Batman even have special attacks?
Batman, you could argue that his special attack is just common sense.
That's not a special attack.
I know.
Throw Batarang?
Yeah.
Not
Batarang.
No, Batman doesn't have anything.
Got nothing.
Anyway, so
Especially not parents.
The next one I have here, right? Hulk Hogan just body slamming somebody.
Does he say something when he does it?
It's called a body slam. It's specifically his special move. Every pro wrestler has a special move, and that's his.
So, but in those cases, they don't call them out. They just do them.
They don't have to say them. It just has to have a name.
And it also isn't always the same. They tweak it slightly so. I think that's in the realm of One Punch Man.
It's the same enough. Jaime doesn't say eyeball snatch when he snatches your eyeball, but it's a move with a name.
Then I think One Punch Man
It's a
counts.
named offensive maneuver.
Yes, One Punch Man's name.
But what's the name of that maneuver?
Punch.
No, it's not.
Body slam counts, but punch doesn't.
Just because the name of Hulk Hogan's special attack is not as fancy as other wrestlers who have things like sharpshooter or figure 4 leg lock or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Does not mean it is any less special, right? Just picking someone up and slamming their ass on the ground. In pro wrestling, it's like, okay, it's on a canvas or whatever, right? But imagine going on the street and picking someone up over your head and just slamming them on the ground.
All right, so how is that then different
shit, son.
from Hagar's special move in the game?
Hagar's special move doesn't have a name. It's not a signature move.
It's the pile driver. It's his signature move. That's the only move you fucking do.
You
Pile
usually
drive,
just
pile
walk.
drive,
You usually
pile
walk
drive.
down the street punching people.
No, I do the pile driver over and over again.
Also, Hagar is not Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Who would win in a fight, Hulk Hogan or Hagar?
Hagar, because Hagar could actually fight the fictional character if he was real. Hulk Hogan just pretend fighted and use steroids.
Yeah, but what about the fictional character Hulk Hogan, the real American hero?
Oh well. It depends.
Real American hero versus
Is it
Hagar.
pro wrestling or is it a street fight? Also, are they in the town which Hagar is mayor of? Because they'll just have the cops show up.
All right, it's fine. So if we're in special moves, everything Sailor Scouts do is a special move.
Pretty much.
By definition.
But none of them are real. None of the ones that I know of. They didn't make my list because the best one I know of is throw your tiara at them and they explode, which is pretty cool, but not cooler than any of these things. It doesn't even beat snatching someone's eyeball out of their face.
Yeah, because you haven't seen any of the good Sailor
I'm
Scouts
sure.
yet.
I believe you that later on there's something ridiculously good.
So Sailor Saturn carries with her a weapon. She has a bladed weapon that she
a
carries.
sword?
No, a glaive.
Oh, okay.
The glaive has a name.
All right.
The glaive's
You're off to a
name
good start.
is the Silence Glaive
Okay.
because it silences the world.
All right, so everyone has to shut the fuck up
So
and listen to what she has to say.
She has multiple powers, but to use her primary power, she need merely invoke the Silence Glaive and strike it into the earth, thereby destroying everything.
Oh.
Everything, bringing ruin to the world.
So it has a name, Silence Glaive?
The entire world.
So when she does this, she goes, Silence Glaive.
Well, I guess I could spoil. She never does that move in the show, but she did it historically and threatens to do it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, she is the most powerful Sailor Scout, and in the
Oh,
lore...
yeah, if you have a Silence Glaive, why don't they just take that shit away from her?
Yeah, you know what? She was not supposed to be reborn with everybody else,
Oh.
but someone fucked up, and she was reborn. Also, when the Moon Kingdom in the past collapsed, I guess you haven't seen a lot of that yet.
Any of
she
it?
was the one who woke up and said, "Well, this is fucked," and destroyed the rest of it just because. She also has another power that basically is a insta-kill. It's a guaranteed insta-kill, but it also kills her.
Oh. Well, she probably uses that
Maybe.
against the end boss.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the end boss of which series?
Second to end boss of whatever series
She's in S, and she's also in Stars.
I guess it's in Stars that she uses it.
Yeah.
If Stars comes afterwards.
We'll see. We'll see what
Spoilers.
happens.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
All right. Going down my list.
Go down your list.
This has a name. I know you were trying to go the superhero comic underwear pervert route. Here is something in the underwear pervert route.
Okay.
Fastball special. Colossus picks up motherfucking Wolverine and throws him at you.
He does that more than once, too.
And it has a name, Fastball Special. They even say Fastball Special in the comic when they do it. Imagine you're standing there in a fight, and you're already fighting with Wolverine and Colossus, so already give up.
Yeah, you're already fucked.
Already give up. But no, they don't come running at you and cut you and punch you in the face with their bodies made of metal. Colossus picks up Wolverine and throws him at you at a speed at which you can't possibly run away from.
That's adding insult to injury. That's like shooting someone on the way down
Wolverine's
from their suicide
basically-
jump out of a skyscraper.
It's like throwing a sword at someone like Nidhogg, right? Except the sword is Wolverine with 6 pointy claws.
I want that to be a game.
Right. So there you go. You don't want to face that shit.
All right. So in my hastily assembled list, because I guess we mentioned it before, Dragonslave would be on the list because that is a favorite.
I have
power.
Dragonslave way farther down my list.
Because Dragonslave is way powerful. I mean, that is the season ender. That is the movie ender. That is the, I'm going to fuck everything up. And it gets bonus points because it is drawn from the power of an evil god that she killed in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she can still draw upon that power. It is an evil spell.
Yep. But it
Which-
fucking works and
Yes.
is used for non-evil.
Sometimes other people cast it, but I like it. It's kind of like if you know Meteo, why the fuck do you ever cast Flare?
Well, Ultima.
Yeah, Ultima. That's how I beat Final Fantasy VI.
Anyway.
But it pales in comparison before the Gigaslave, which I guess
It's
has
less
the power.
powerful, but it only happens like a handful of times. It's not a signature move like Dragonslave.
But the thing is, they have a similar name. The Gigaslave is named. She knows it.
We can put them together in the same bundle. I'll allow that. But I think if you had to choose one, it's got to be the main Dragonslave.
Well, it depends. I mean, I guess we shouldn't spoil.
It's got a huge speech in front of it, right? That
So
helps
does the Gigaslave.
Yeah, but the Dragonslave speech is iconic, right? It's,
Yeah.
And then the explosion is just so ridiculously enormous.
So is the Slayer's
And it involves a dragon.
is the Slayer's special attack truly just suddenly turn into a shonen fighting show that's weirdly serious and then break out of that mold randomly?
I don't know. All right. So, I don't know. This one might even break my own rule.
Yeah.
So, it's half on my list.
I got a bunch. Like, for example, I'm not even going to talk about anything that happens in Madoka because everything I would say would be huge spoilers.
But pretty much, whenever Goemon cuts something, and you could call it, he always says something like, I have cut a useless thing, or I have drawn my sword in uselessly, or something like that.
Oh, so if it's a move that has a catchphrase after the fact?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, does it have a true name? If someone says you want to disallow it, I'll say, okay, fine,
Yeah,
you can
know what?
disallow it.
Fuck it, because there's a lot of things
Because-
that happen in Hokuto no Ken that mostly only get the after talk.
Right, but it's like, dude, have you seen these Lupin movies? Some of them are more ridiculous than others, right? Usually he just cuts a door open or cuts a cave rock, so they can get in the cave. But like other time, I think, doesn't he cut like a plane into multiple pieces? And
Yeah.
he cuts like whole buildings down. And like whenever he does it for something ridiculous, it's like, dude just stood there with a sword, took the sword out, put it back in, you didn't even see it, and something ridiculously large is now chopped into a million pieces. That's amazing.
I couldn't pick any particular move from Fist of the North Star.
I
But-
could.
But so Zankai Ken is
It's
just
next.
my
It's
favorite.
next on my list. In fact,
Hokuto Zankai Ken is just my favorite
Mm.
for obvious reasons.
It's the most comedic for sure,
Yes.
right? Hokuto Hyakuretsu Ken is the number one primary attack, right?
Yup.
So you could easily put that one.
That has both the say the name of the attack and the say something after the attack.
Well, he says that after every attack
Yeah.
that succeeds.
But he does them both.
Right. But I actually pick the secret end of Hokuto no Ken attack, Muso Tensei. Which is where, right? And the reason I picked that is because, like, you sort of get used to Fist of the North Star. You watch it a whole bunch, right? And it's like you see these ridiculous attacks, and you get used to them. It's like, you're exploding, right? But when you get to the end, and as the attack uses only like 2 times or maybe 3 times, it's like, oh shit, son, right? And it gives you that oh shit, son feeling, like, oh my god, this move is even stronger, right? He's been doing these ridiculous moves all this time, cramming some guy into a tiny grave, making people explode by just touching them, right? Giving them 10 seconds to think about their sins before they die. And then this is the big guns compared to that. He didn't even know this one. He had to learn it from a secret way, right? And it was hard for Kenshiro to do it. It's amazing.
Nah.
It's it's like when you see it go down, it's like, oh, you get the heebly jeeblies.
Special mention, I think, for Zaizen Jotaro's black credit card. That is a special attack, I would argue.
Maybe.
I think that is definitely a special attack.
Okay, next on my list was Rocket Punch, which you already talked about.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But after that, most of these are robots because robots
Yeah.
are bigger and have better attacks.
And also, I
As
pretty
a
much have a
rule-
note here that says everything in Kill La Kill.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, what else can I say?
But there's too
Everything.
many, I guess it would be,
I guess the Zenny guy might get his attack.
no, it would be, I've forgotten it already.
Wow.
The finishing, how can I not remember the name of it? I watched the show once and then I stopped.
Oh, when they cut the thread out and he incorporates it into himself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, why am I feel so dumb? Anyway, no, Astro Boy has his butt machine gun.
Specifically the buttons. He doesn't say anything when he uses it.
It has a name, butt machine gun.
But he just like pops out. It's like, yeah, my gun has a name. Doesn't it make it my special attack?
That's definitely a special attack. He uses it more rarely than anything else.
No,
Right.
so rarity suddenly matters?
Yeah, that's what makes it more epic,
No.
right? When it's rarely used. The same reason Muso Tensei is so great. It's rarely used.
Yeah, so speaking of rarity, Fluttershy's
And
eye.
it's fucking bullets coming out, killing people
Fluttershy's
out of a
stare
little robot's butt.
is a named special attack, and it might be the second most powerful thing we've ever seen.
I didn't even think of that one. That's an amazing choice.
that was near the top of my list right here.
That's amazing.
Because I was thinking like, oh, Sonic Rain Boom. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
What could stop the Sonic Rain Boom? Well, 1, any alicorn. 2, a math puzzle.
Yeah.
Rainbow Dash is not that smart.
I guess you're not going to choose, Elements of Harmony attack.
Because they spoilers, I guess. Spoiler reasons why.
Yeah, anyway. But
Yeah, I think Fluttershy's stare is the most iconic and powerful.
it's called The Stare.
Yes, basic special attack.
There you go.
Because the alicorns just do Gennaro magicy.
Now, some of those magics can be
It's like
named.
Gandalf fighting. He doesn't have a special attack. He's just like magic.
Exactly. Gandalf does not have any special attacks that can be
Yes.
used. All right. Next. Oh, Dragonslave. Right.
Yep, we talked about that.
But what about some other dragons like Gojira? Just when he breathes fire, that's it.
Nah, so what about being a friend to children?
That's not a special attack.
Is
but
that
you
not a
could,
special
you
attack?
could. Gamera has plenty of special attacks, right? But like turning into a turtle shell and spinning around and rocketing and shit like that, right? But Godzilla breath. He breathes radioactive fire. It's like
he doesn't yell like, "Oh, Godzilla breath!"
it
and
has a
then shoot
name.
out.
The name is Godzilla Fire Radioactive Breath. It has a name for the attack. It's rarely used. It's signature attack, right? And he brings it out as like the finishing blow. It's like he'll punch people all day and whip his tail at him and do all kinds of other stuff, but he won't breathe fire on him until it's like, all right, you made me do this. Boom. And then when he does it, everyone's just like, fuck yeah.
It's kind of old school in that the internet already forgot about it, but this used to be a big thing. And I saw sidekicks in the theater. So Chuck Norris's roundhouse kick is a special attack
It sure
and
is.
actually incredibly powerful.
Was that the one with the kid had asthma?
Yes, it was.
I saw that in the theater. It was awful.
I remember the whole movie. I'm like I expected this movie to be about Chuck Norris, and the whole movie is just this asthma kid having fantasies about being.
The thing
friends with
is,
Chuck
right?
Norris.
I didn't even think of that category until just now. But while you know, that's a valid special move. Bruce Lee 1-inch punch just kicks that way down the list.
Well, punches it
Sure.
way down the list.
Yes. From only an inch away.
Nah.
Bruce Lee would hold his fist just an inch away from something and then punch it so ridiculously hard over that short distance.
But Chuck Norris, as the fictional character, can destroy galaxies with his kick.
Yes, but this is a real person doing that,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
That's
you know,
probably, in fact, the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch is probably the strongest special attack that's actually fucking real. What else on Earth even comes close to that that's actually not fictional?
Do I name a nuclear weapon and then launch it?
That's not a special attack.
Well, you don't know. What is the next time the U.S. goes all nuclear? We're like, nuclear fire, go! And then we launch it. Maybe they yell
Just
that.
because you
We don't
use
know.
it or not, you don't have to use it or not use it for it to be special attack,
Nah.
right? Just having the special attack.
So back when I was taking Kung Fu at RIT, our Sifu was demonstrating that sort of thing and demonstrating the importance of stance. And he would do a version of that where I'd get in my stance and he'd come up, he'd stand next to me and he'd hold his palm like an inch away from my chest. And then he would open palm punch me in the chest and push me off my feet and to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted to get on his bad side.
Usually people who are teaching martial arts are not going to hurt you. When's the last time you saw,
No, but I'm saying he
jiu-jitsu
could.
instructor goes on rampage, strangles 30 to death? Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that ever, and it never will happen either. All right, next on my list.
Yep.
I'm running out of things on my list.
My list ran out now, so I'm trying to come up with things to add to the list at the bottom.
Well, number 2 on my list, Voltron, the strongest robot ever. Form blazing sword. They say form blazing sword, and then they form a fucking sword. And when you're a kid, swords. And a giant robot makes a sword out of the air, and he doesn't use it often. They don't use most of the time. They just form Voltron and punch the Robies to death. Right? They don't need the sword. They only bring out the sword when they have to, and it's like, oh shit, they're getting the sword this episode. Yes, and then they cut that Robies down. So good.
I guess we can go to the end of your list.
The end of my list.
I mean, I got a lot of things I could throw out there, but I feel like every one of them would be either minorly contested or is not nearly as powerful as even the dregs of our current list.
Well, the end of the list, obviously, right? You want to go something that's so devastating, right? You want the biggest, most damaging possible attack you can think of.
So
right?
Sailor Saturn.
Well, no. Well, maybe. I bet it's on par with that, right? But you would go to things, you would think in your mind something like, Death Star gun. But that's not a special attack. That's just its gun, right? So you can't really pick that. And there are other planet-destroying type weapons out there, right? But there's only one I could think of that is that strong, that has a name. Chiz. Space Battleship Yamato, the wave motion gun. It has a whole production whenever they shoot it. It's so ridiculously dangerous that, they respect, they're shooting it, and they just, respect it so fucking much because it's so dangerous.
That definitely beats out the Lohengreens or whatever guns from...
Just the regular whatever guns on the Gundam Seed white Baywood ship or whatever. Yeah, those are just whatever guns, right? And it's like, they'll fight a whole fleet of dudes. Like, all right, it's like, the Macross has a main gun, but it's just like fire main gun. It's not like a special attack. The only special attack it has is transforming and the shield thingy, right? It doesn't have, its gun isn't a special attack. It's just its main gun, right? This is also the main gun, but the production that goes into firing it, right? The little thing opens with the targeting thing and the little handgun controller for it, and they aim it, and they got to charge it up, and then it's the amount of damage it does. And they yell out wave motion gunfire or whatever every single time. Oh my god! It's and every it's they fire it pretty often. It's not like it's rarely used like some other things, but it's not used in every single episode, right? But it's even though you've watched so many episodes of this show, every time they fire it gives you the heave. Not Hokuto no Ken had to wait to build up to a special attack at the very end to give you the heebly-jeeblies. This thing is so big, every time they fire it is heebly-jeeblies.
Heebly-jeeblies.
Every single time it works, right? Every single time.
All right. So I guess now is where we leave it for you guys to post in the forum and yell at us for forgetting, the super obvious thing.
And forgetting the name of the main attack and kill again. Like a dumbass.
We're old. That show's so, last season.
As soon as I'm going to go see it right now, and I'm going to hate myself.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.